Welcome back to Coding Goblin, the #1 coding YouTube channel filmed in a utility room. Yes, it is official, #1. So I just want to talk to you about something that I have been realizing lately and something that could be of use to you. If you are looking to improve your developer skills, Laravel skills in particular, then you're going to find this interesting. And if you're not, then I don't know what you're doing here, to be honest with you, so just get out of it. So I have been refactoring a lot of code on a booking system I have been building. A booking system that I have been building / working on for a number of years now. And when you come to refactoring stuff, as I'm sure a lot of you have had to do in your careers, it can be kind of painful and it can be kind of embarrassing almost to look back on the code that you created and maybe once thought was actually decent. And you look back at it and you're like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And I've been experiencing that a lot recently because, wow, what was I thinking, basically? And it's got me thinking of, why this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it's showing how far you've progressed, firstly, and how kind of much your knowledge has increased and how much better you are at a developer and how your brain has adapted to be able to figure problems out in a more, efficient way. I think that's the term I'm looking for. So in my case, I basically found myself reinventing the wheel a lot in this booking system. So if anyone has experience working with dates and times, you will probably know that when you're first starting out, it can be quite overwhelming and quite confusing. And I certainly felt this way, and it caused me a lot of mental blocks, and I was just really kind of struggling with it because it's a lot of kind of visualizing dates and times in your head and thinking of them in terms of periods and intervals and things like that. And I think if you break it down, it's actually quite simple, but if you don't and you just try and go for it and figure it out, it's not simple. It's complicated. So what I had actually done, without boring you with too much detail, because it is really boring to be honest with you, is I had created time periods manually, which is just absolutely insane when there are lots of packages and tools that will do it for you. So while I was using a very, very popular package called Carbon, which is integrated with Laravel, and I think Laravel makes a lot of use out of it, I was not using it very effectively and I was only kind of partially using it. So I was actually, how many times do I want to say actually? Wow, that's annoying. So I was actually reinventing a lot of functionality. So I was creating loops of like time slots and appending all this information to these time slots and whatever. I won't go into the details, but I've been refactoring it lately and I've realized just how much more simple I could make it, and I have made it. So that's not to say that it's not complicated. It is quite complicated, depending on your brain power. So for some people it won't be complicated at all, and you'll just be able to visualize all these time periods in your head and what you need to do and how you need to kind of chop them up and how you need to take things into account. But for other people, maybe including myself in this, it's a struggle to visualize that. So yeah, that was a realization I came to. But the important realization, the more important one, which I think will be useful to people, is if you're trying to learn something, anything for that matter, but we're going to keep it specific to coding and Laravel, although it's not a Laravel specific problem. It's it could be any sort of framework or language, so whatever, bear that in mind. So don't leave if you use Svelte or whatever the hell else you use. Is, I think, a really effective way of learning how to do things is just building something. This isn't an original concept, but I do think it's very valuable to just go ahead and try and build something, because if you're going to go and try and learn a load of theory and just look at the docs and kind of try to understand what they're talking about without actually putting it into practice, unless you're some sort of Einstein genius who learns that way and can just retain information, which I imagine is quite rare, and I don't think that's probably very common in developers. Unless you have that ability, you're not gonna really get the same knowledge and understanding as if you just go ahead and try and build something. So if you go ahead and try and build a booking system, some sort of tool for bookings, making bookings, online bookings, you're gonna learn so much. I would probably go as far to say as it is one of the best types of apps or websites or whatever you want to call it to try and build, to learn so much about a framework, because there's so much data manipulation and stuff like that you need to do, and calling stuff from databases. Since I've been refactoring this particular booking system, I have learned so much about eloquent queries and stuff like that, which is Laravel specific, that I had just not known before, which is kind of baffling, because what have I been doing? What have I been doing all this time? I've been using Laravel for years, and it made me think that I hadn't really, mastered it at all. Now I think I've mastered it. Now I have a much greater knowledge and understanding of Laravel, and everything seems smoother, and I'm having to put in less effort when I'm coding because it just seems more natural, which is obviously a good thing. So yeah, I just think if you are trying to learn anything, I really do recommend you try to build something. Try to build a web app. It doesn't have to be a booking system, but in this example, if you're trying to learn about dates, time and dates and stuff like that, and how to manipulate that and how to use them, then a booking system is a pretty obvious one to start with. And I think there's gaps in the market for booking systems, to be honest with you. I don't want to give away too much stuff, too many of my secrets or too many of my potential opportunities. I mean, booking systems have been around forever, so everyone knows about them. But I think there is real potential to make money by offering custom booking systems, or a booking system that can be easily customized. So I think, yeah, give it a go if you want. I've got a list of about 100 things to do, and that is now number 101 on that list of the things I want to do, and that is to build a booking system, kind of software as a service sort of thing. So that'll be quite fun, but like a real simple one. So yeah, it's quite shocking. It's quite shocking that I have gone this far in my career, if you want to call it a career. I don't know if you could really call it a career, but how I've come this far using Laravel for this amount of time, and my knowledge was really actually lacking quite greatly. So I know you could say that's not a Laravel specific thing, but as in the date time thing, but there was a lot of Laravel knowledge missing in what I've been doing. But now I think I've plugged those holes and I have a greater understanding. And it's kind of all the little bits of the docs that you glance over and you look at and you're like, why would I need that? Well, when you actually build something, you're gonna look up a certain problem and then you're gonna go, that's why I need that. So that's the importance of building something, because it presents those opportunities. And you don't actually have to learn how to do all these things off the top of your head. That's the beauty of using something like Laravel, because the docs are so comprehensive. I know some people say that they're not the greatest. I'm not really in a position to say that they're good or bad, because I haven't really used all that many frameworks to compare them to others. It is quite a lot of text, and it's quite repetitive, and it could probably do with some examples that would help you out, but at the end of the day, you can figure it out. So yeah, the point is that the information is there if you're willing to read through it, and if you have the patience to look it up. But there's obviously Stack Overflow and all that. Like, people have asked a lot of questions, so yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling on a little bit now. How are we doing? 10 minutes. Wow. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And one other thing I want to share with you: if you are building websites, you should make them live as quick as you can. You really should. I've said it before, I'll say it again, but if you are looking for a hosting provider, I can recommend Cloudways. I'll pop a link in the description. I use it for pretty much all of my websites. Not all of my websites, but pretty much all of my websites. So if you are looking for a very good quality hosting provider that's easy to use, then I do recommend that. I'll pop a link in the description. Anyway, hope you're all good. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, blah, 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 at the end.